Hello and welcome to this week's Profit Maximizing Moment. This show is dedicated to helping business owners dramatically improve their bottom line with our weekly profit maximizing tips and that you can use now. I'm your host, Wayne Belisle. I'm also the founder of a local CPA firm that works with business owners to help them make more money, keep more of what they have from the IRS. I do this with our profit coaching programs and our tax planning programs. By the way, the tax planning programs have saved my clients over $6.8 million in the last 5 years, all legally. Love my clients, but I don't want to share a jail cell to you. In today's video, you'll learn about the new PPP rules issued by the SBA that can greatly help sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed. But before we go there, support for today's show came from Profit Maximizing Publisher, which published my new book, The 90-Day Profit Maximizer. You can get this which before you can get this at Amazon. I kept the price for the Kindle pretty cheap. I think it's $3.99. The paperback version is $19.95. Really should get it. Pretty simply, the idea behind the 90-day profit reset is to show you how to gain your independence from reduced cash flow, shrinking margins, and evaporating customer base in this book. Just chapter after chapter filled with idea after idea about how you can turn around your business and reset your profits from red to black in 90 days or fewer. Even entrepreneurs who are making money will benefit from this book by learning how to make even more money. All right, let's go to what I'm talking about. The SBA made some major changes last week, and we're still digesting them, let's just say. All right, and particularly, it's good changes for some of us. All right. In particular, business owners who are sole proprietors, contractors, got the gig economy. We're talking about people who file their taxes as a sole proprietor on a Schedule C. If you file as an S corp or a partnership or a regular corporation, tough luck. All right. What the biggest change is that it allows you to calculate it based on gross sales rather than net income. Why'd they do this? Well, the problem when they're looking at this, surprisingly, they still have money left over, and the time frame is ending March 31st. So what's happening is you're really running into problems. All right, they estimate they're going to use 220 billion out of the 300 something, so they're going to have money left over, and they're sitting there realizing that it's not really helping the people that they thought that really need it. And I'm going to tell you truthfully. Sorry, allergies, man. Good Lord, the allergies are kicking me. I'll tell you truthfully, that's true. All right, don't know what I just knocked down. That was interesting. Um, Very simply, I have sole proprietor since it's based on payroll or net profits and or net profits. Many of these were, they don't make enough. So they were getting so little that it just wasn't worth it. I had one guy who was getting $3,000. It just wasn't worth the trouble. All right. And so we decided to go the employee retention method, employee retention credit with the IRS. But then they changed the rules of the IRS saying we could do both, where last year it was do one or the other. All right. I got another one. If you bought some equipment and did Section 179 write-offs, or you had some equipment write-offs in prior years that you carried forward, your bottom line on the Schedule C shows a loss, in which case you didn't qualify. So what is the big change they did? They basically said we're going to change it to using top line sales, gross income. In other words, the total amount of your sales. That's a big change. I mean, I had somebody who had a loss, like I said, had a depreciation write-off and no employees. They didn't qualify for any PPP loan. Under the new rules, they're going to qualify for a little over $30,000. That's major. All right. Now, it's kind of complicated. All right. I'm not going to get into the details a heck of a lot here. It's based on, you still can do both. Now, you can do a first or a second loan draw. Okay, the first one, there's some money set aside for that. You can still grab it if you didn't do one last year. The second one, you still need to have that 25% drop. Okay, it's complicated if you have employees. How do you calculate it? They don't want you double dipping. So you take your gross income minus the payroll and add it back in, you basically end up with gross income. It gets a little complicated. The SBA released two new forms, 2483-C for first draws and 2483-SD-C for second draws. They did stick out a warning in this. They don't. They warned that the SBA was going to look closely at any loans that came out above 150,000 to make sure you had a real need for the funds. Truth of the matter is, if you're getting the SBA loans, you were supposed to have said had a need. That was one of the boxes that you put in there, that you needed it. That's one of the stipulations that you signed off on. Now, that can be anything, because remember, it's talking about your mindset at the time that you applied for the loan. What I'm telling my people, especially if they're getting more than $150,000, is to document now what's going on. All right. And the same thing I told them last May. Document what your thinking is right now. Like, you got some contracts coming. I got one guy who did a lot of work on the border wall. It's gone. Not sure where he's going to get it. This will help him not lay off employees while he works to replace that. That's the kind of thing to write down. I have another person who's, because of the rules that a lot of the general contractors have put in place, they're having problems. If you were closed at one time and you're behind in bills and you need this to catch up now that you're able to open, whatever it is, all right, make sure you put that there. The forgiveness rules are complicated to a degree. I covered them in a prior video, but for sole proprietors, I'll just kind of tell you, you don't have payroll, so you have an 8 week or up to a 24-week time period. You can cut it short, where it's based on money that you take out as the owner, that you have to show that because the way the SBA is looking at it, you, the owner, are the employee that they're trying to save. This is something, truthfully, they probably should have done last year, because the problem is a lot of these are smaller businesses that are just getting started, or they're trying to survive, or maybe like myself, we're running on a small crew, but we have subcontractors that are doing our marketing, that are doing our bookkeeping, so a lot of business people are setting themselves up with that model, and they didn't qualify, and they ran into trouble. So that's something that you probably need to look at. The forgiveness rules say, the money you take out as draws count as you being paid an employee. Kind of confusing, okay? This whole thing's very confusing. You really need to get the help, especially when you look at it that this program ends by law on March 31st, 21. So, today when I'm recording this is the 11th. You literally got 20 days and the program's over. I'll be honest with you, you got less than that, because the banks are cutting it off. The banks I talked to are cutting it off a week early, so probably around the 22nd. Did I say to the 11th? Yeah, okay. I'm losing track of days, man. All right, so you really need to get that. You don't want to miss out on this. This is very, 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 very important, okay? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, because this is limited to those people that didn't get one and now may qualify. If you call to action is simple. Make sure you actually if you think you're going to apply, get the application in. You might get help for somebody to help you do the forgiveness down the road. Call your CPA, see if they can help you with it. It's not that bad of an application. Go to SBA.gov, look for the forms I talked about. I think I stuck it in here, 2483-C or 2483-SD. Go to the SBA site, look for it, it'll be there. You can probably do it yourself. The forgiveness, I'd probably get some help. Hey, this is Wayne Bilal. I want to thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next week with another profit maximizing tip, and let's keep working to make the next year your most profitable year ever. Thank you very much.